What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yejide, and if it's your first time stopping by, you are most definitely welcome. So on today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful palazzo pant. So the material I'm using for this is this crepe material. I'm going to be needing about 2 yards of material for this and also my zipper. So the first thing I'm going to do is to know the amount of material I'm going to be using for my front cut. So I'm going to go ahead now to measure the trouser length. The trouser length I'm working with is 40 inches. I'm just going to add 5 inches to this so I can have enough to cut with later. So now for the width, I'm going to be dividing the hip measurement into 4, that is 40 divided by 4, that is 10, and I'm going to be adding 4 inches to this. So I'm going to be measuring 40 inches all through. This is going to be the width of this front cut I am making use of. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out now. So now I am going to go ahead to take my measurement. So now I'm going to be removing 1.5 inches. This is going to be for my band, and I'm just going to measure my hip line from here. So the hip line I'm working with is 8 inches. I'm just going to mark this. So after marking the hip line, the next thing I'm going to mark is the crotch line. Now the crotch line I'm working with is 12. How you can get your crotch line is by sitting on a table and measuring from your waist to the top of that table. So now I'm just going to rule this out. So now I'm going to go ahead to label these measurements, my hip line and also my crotch line. So now the next thing I'm going to mark is my thigh line. This is also known as the lap line. I'm just going to come down by 4 inches from the crotch line. Yeah, crotch. So I am also going to rule this out like this. So now I am going to come to the hip line, divide my hip measurement by 4, that is 40 divided by 4, that is 10. I am going to go ahead to mark 10 inches and also add 1 inch. This 1 inch is going to be for seam allowance. So I have 11 inches on the hip line. So whatever you have on the hip line, you are going to add 2 inches to that and mark this on the crotch line. So now I have 11 inches on my hip line. I'm going to be marking 13 inches on the crotch line like this. So now I am just going to rule a straight line from that my hip measurement down to the crotch line in a straight manner and also to the waistline. And now the next thing is just to make a little curve from that straight line I've drawn down to that my crotch measurement, like so. Now I'm going to come to my waist and divide the waist measurement by 4, that is 28 divided by 4, that is 7. So I'm going to be marking 7 inches and also add 1 inch for that and also another inch for seam allowance. So now I have 9 inches on my waistline. So I'm just going to be connecting this waist measurement to the hip in this manner. So the next thing is to take my thigh measurement. The thigh measurement I'm working with is 24 divided by 2, that is 12. I'm just going to mark 12 inches and also add 1 inch to this for seam allowance. So now I'm going to be connecting that crotch measurement I made earlier to this thigh measurement like this. So now I am just going to show you guys the full length of this trouser. Now don't forget the 1.5 inches for band. So you can see this is 45 inches. The length of the trouser I'm working with is actually 40 inches, but just so I have enough, to trim it later. That's why I added 5 inches to this. So now depending on how free you want your palazzo to be, you can make it any shape you want. I want this to be very free around my thighs, around my laps and my legs. So I'm just going to be cutting this in a freehand method like this. So now I am done with cutting the front cut. I'm just going to cut the back now. So I'm going to place this front that I have cut. I'm going to be placing it on the remainder of this fabric. So you can leave 2.5 inches at the side like this, and also 2.5 inches at the edge of this waistline. So now I'm going to be adding 2 inches to the side of this my front cut. I'm going to be adding it on the back. So now I'm going to mark 2 inches on the waist. I'm also going to be marking 2 inches on the hip. So I'm going to be connecting them like this. So now the crotch, instead of 2 inches, I am going to be adding 2.5 inches. This is because you don't want that back side, the middle of the pants, you don't want it going in between, the bum. So you want it to stay out. So I'm just going to be adding 2.5 inches on the crotch, and also 2 inches on the thigh. So I'm going to be marking 2 inches straight down like this, and I'm just going to be connecting all the dots together. So now I'm just going to be using my pins to hold down the front cut to the back cut, and now I am going to come to the waistline, and I'll come up on the back cut. I'm going to be coming up by 2 inches. So why you want to add these 2 inches to the back cut is so that you can make your back cut a bit longer than, or higher than, your front cut, so that when you bend or when you sit, the inside of your butt won't be showing. So now the waist measurement I have earlier on the front cut is 9. I'm just going to go ahead to mark the same 9 inches on this new um back cut, this waistline on the back cut. So because this back is not going to be having any elastic, so you want to make sure you have the exact waist measurement on the front. You want to make sure you have the same thing on the back. So I'm just going to be connecting it like this. So I'll be using my curve rule to connect the hip to the waist like this. You can make use of your free hand. I just like to make use of my curve in this instance. So then I'm going to trace out the front pattern. I'm going to be tracing it out on the back, and I'm going to be cutting it out like so. So this is what they look like. I'm done cutting the front and the back cut. So now it's time to hold the crotch line. So now I'm going to come to this back. At the back, I'm not going to be holding the entire crotch line. I'm going to be coming up. Don't forget 1.5 for the band. I'm just going to be marking 7.5 inches away at this back cut. So this 7 inches is going to be for my zipper. So now from this point that I marked here, I'm going to be sewing it at this other side like this. This is what I'm going to be sewing, and not the other part. So now for the front, I'm going to be joining it together like this. So as you can see, I've gone ahead to join the middle of my front cut and my back. So now it is time for us to take the dart. So for the dart, I'm going to use the nipple to nipple measurement, which is 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, and I'll come down by 5 inches. That is going to be my dart length. So the other side, I'll do the same thing, go in by 3.5 and come down by 5 inches. So I'm also going to do the same thing for the back. I'm going to be holding this part. Don't forget, we are adding the zipper to the back. So I'm gonna to make use of my pins to hold down that zipper allowance. So I've gone in from the middle by 3.5, and I went down by 5 inches. That is my dart length. So I'm just going to be holding this like this. So I am done holding the darts. This is what they look like. Disregard this water stain in the middle. This is from my steam iron. So it is time to sew the insides of our pants. You want to make sure the seam are lying flat on each other like this, and I'm going to be holding this by 1/2 inch straight down to the left and also to the right. So I am done with this is what it looks like. So I'm going to notch the middle of this area like so. It's a bit tense right now, so you want to make sure it is relaxed, right? So I'm going to iron this part also, and I'm going to be holding the sides, the left and the right, I'm going to be joining both sides like so. So I am done joining. This is what it looks like. I'm just going to turn this to the right side so you can see it. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead to iron this side like this so they can, you know, lay flat. So guys, I've gone ahead to iron this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to be taking the trouser length now so I can trim this very well. So I'm going to be measuring 40 inches. That is the length of the trouser I'm working with. So I'm going to arrange the ends of this trouser very well and just mark 40 inches. Then I'm going to be adding 2 inches. That is going to be for the seam allowance. I'm going to be folding that in. So this means I'm going to be cutting 42 inches. So I'm going to be trimming out the remainder of this end. Yeah. So I am done trimming, guys. This is what it looks like.
Guys, Shokoto is fine.
So guys, now it is time for us to fix the band. So the one thing you want to do is to first take the measurement of what you have around the waist. So I'm going to take my tape around the waist measurement. So I'm just going to I'm going to measure this like so. I'll show you guys what I have on the waist. So as you can see on this waist, I have about 30.5 inches. So I'll just go ahead to cut out 32 inches, so I can trim well later. So now don't forget the band measurement we left when cutting the length of the trouser is 1.5. So I'm just going to be adding half of an inch. So that half of an inch is going to serve as seam allowance. So I'm going to cut out 2 inches. That is going to be the width of this band, and the length is going to be 32 inches like I said earlier. So guys, this is what the band looks like. You can go ahead to press this very well before adding it. So I'm just going to be adding it to my waist like this. I'm not going to be turning my waist to the other side. I'm going to be sewing it on the right side of the waist. So I'm just going to be sewing it round the waist of my pants like so, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. So guys, I've gone ahead to sew this. You can see it looking very neat. So I'm just going to be cutting out the remainder of this band. So guys, I am done with it. This is what it looks like. Now it is time to fix our zip. So I'm just going to fix the zipper like so. I'm going to press this part down, so I'll show you what it looks like when I am done. So guys, you can see it looking very fine and neat. I've gone ahead to join the zipper. So this is what it looks like. Now it is time for us to hold in the hem of our pants. So don't forget we left 2 inches as the sewing allowance for the end of this pant. So what I'm going to do now is to turn it to the other side. You can see I've turned it to the wrong side. So I am going to be using my tape to make sure it is 2 inches I am holding in, and I'm going to be holding this again by just a little bit, like half of an inch when I'm sewing. That means I'm going to be folding this twice. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm done. I'm going to go ahead to do this to the other side too, and I'll iron this. So this is what the finished look looks like. You can see it looking very fine and neat. So guys, please give this video a big fat thumbs up. I'm going to be showing you guys the back side of this pant. So please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I'm going to see you all in my next video. Bye.